Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be teaching or showing you how to crumb coat and final coat your cake. So when you start, you want to put a dollop of frosting down between your cake and the cake board. It will help act as glue. It'll keep it from sliding all over the place while you're cake decorating. Otherwise, yeah, that can be really irritating. So as you can see, you put the first dollop of frosting down on your cake. You want to get it as level and as even as possible. And then in this cake, I'm adding strawberries. So I'm trying to make all of those as level as possible as well. Trying to make them the same sizes. That was it didn't really happen. But see how I'm pushing down on the cake right now. That kind of helps push out any air that might come in between the strawberries and the buttercream. You don't want to have air bubbles in your cake. So then you want to just hold your bench scraper, or your offset spatula, sorry, as level as possible to the cake, and it will make the cake, obviously, as level as possible. So I wore gloves in this, obviously, you can see. I hate the stickiness of strawberries, and it drove me crazy, so I had to wear gloves. So as you can see, the sides of my cake started to flop down here, so what I did was I lifted the side, and I started to shove some buttercream in there to help lift the sides of the cake and keep it from falling while I finished decorating it. Otherwise, you are not going to get as level of layers in between if the cake is falling down on the sides. So that's a good way to hold up the sides if you're having trouble with any of that ever happening. Just add a little bit of buttercream in the sides, shove it in there, it'll hold, it'll be good. It'll all be good in the end. Cakes are very forgiving when you're starting on them. They leave a lot of room for error. You can hide it, you can cover it up, it is okay. So just keep cutting the strawberries and getting them as level with the cake as possible. This cake was probably not very fun to cut into because strawberries were pretty thick and it probably didn't make it very fun. So the last cake layer, you always want to flip it upside down. It's going to help get you the most smooth, cornered edges. It just helps. It makes everything that much easier. So here, as you can see, I have quite big gaps between my cake layers, so I'm shoving as much buttercream as I can between the layers to keep them from bulging out. And then I'll go around the entire cake, and do my crumb coat. And in this process, it doesn't matter if you start with the top of your cake. It doesn't matter if you start with the sides of your cake. As you'll see when I do my final coat, I start with the top and then I do the sides second. It's really personal preference. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Sometimes I find it easier to do the sides before the top when I do my crumb coat. It's completely personal preference, like I said. You can see my tiny human in the background here helping me, making sure that I can't focus. Half of my footage in this video was unusable because she tried to kill me and herself at one point. Don't mind that. It's okay. We're okay. So here you want to hold your offset spatula as level as possible while doing the top of the cake. And you just want to keep going around until you feel comfortable, until you feel that it's as smooth as possible. I mean, having OCD, I'll go over it millions of times and it'll just keep getting worse and worse, but you do what you do. I used Swiss buttercream in this cake as well. I feel like it's a lot lighter and easier to use, and American buttercream gets clumpy and it doesn't get as smooth with the sides, and I like Swiss meringue a lot better, personally. So as you can see, I'm holding my bench scraper against the cake. You don't want to hold it straight out. you want to hold it against the cake so that you can get even pressure with your hand from the top all the way to the bottom of it. And you just want to keep going around until you feel like your sides are straight. You can fill in any air bubbles, any air gaps. Your crumb coat does not have to be perfect. It's all going to get covered up with the final coat, so it's not that important. And then you're just going to take the bench scraper and you just want to pull the frosting from the edges into the center of the cake. And you'll get those perfectly smooth sides on the top. So once we're done here, I'm going to pop it in the fridge for about 25-30 minutes to let it completely set before I start on the second coat, so that those strawberries in there are nice and set and nothing's wiggling around. So as you can see, I put on a nice generous amount of frosting here on the top. I'm going to keep pushing it to where it kind of falls over the sides. It helps get the edges on the top a lot smoother and you get that nice edge. And you want to just hold your offset spatula. You can use your bench scraper for this as well. Personal preference again, it doesn't matter. And then you just want to start adding on thick layers of buttercream to the sides of your cake. Most of this is going to get scraped off anyway. You can put it into a piping bag. You can pipe it onto the side of your cake. However you like to get the buttercream on the sides of your cake is completely up to you. Just make sure it's on there nice and thick and as much as possible. And then it's all going to get pulled off.
I'll just cry. She won't cry. She won't.
So we'll use my bench scraper again for the process of smoothing out the buttercream on this. Like I said, holding it as flat as possible against the cake, not straight up and down. And you just want to keep going around the cake until you feel like it's as good as you want it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a 110%. I mean, we're not professional cake makers here. I'm self-taught. I taught myself everything I know, so I don't look for perfectionism. I don't look for everything to be completely perfect. I do what I can. And I mean, honestly, it comes down to taste. So if it tastes good, I don't care. I mean, I do care, but. So if you're getting any of those air gaps or holes in the side of your cake, just take a little bit of buttercream, fill them in, go over it again, and just keep going around until you are happy with how it looks and happy with the sides. And then same thing with the top of the cake. You can use your bench scraper, you can use your offset spatula. You're just going to pull that frosting in towards the middle again. And then you have a blank canvas, a beautiful blank cake. You can decorate it however you want. I love nothing better than a beautiful blank cake and deciding how to decorate it from here on out. Some people in this process too, to get super smooth sides, you can take your bench scraper and you can run it under really, really warm water and you can go over your cake. Or you can chill it first, put it in the fridge for a few minutes, let it chill, and then go over it again with a really, really warm bench scraper or spatula, and it'll just get those super glossy, smooth sides that everybody is like dies over, but I don't have time for that, and I don't really care. I think I ended up covering this cake in fondant after this anyway, especially if you're covering it in fondant. It doesn't matter. You want those corners nice and sharp, but everything else, if you have imperfections, it really doesn't matter. And yes, when pulling in the frosting from the top of the cake into the center, you want to wipe it off after every single time. Otherwise, you're going to get frosting everywhere, and it won't make those perfect sides. And then there you have it, a completely smooth, beautiful blank canvas to do whatever you'd like with. I hope you learned something in this video today. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. Let me know what other kind of videos you want to see. And we'll be back soon.